Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Carl from Planet 40k, and today we're going to be going over yesterday's previews from the Warhammer community. So just before I begin guys, I just wanted to make you all aware that we literally have just launched our Patreon service. You'll find the link in the description below, so if anybody wants to support us on that, go check that out. Right, so on the 1st of October, Warhammer Community released an article previewing some of the new stratagems that will be inside of the new Codex. And that Codex is coming out next week. They've said there's going to be 40 stratagems within the new book, which is a huge bump up from its previous total of 27. They've now split the stratagems up into 6 categories to make finding strategies much easier. I think I would have preferred them just to be divided into phases in the book, so it's easier to find the stratagem while you're working through each phase. But they've done it in a different way that I can't really tell the difference between them at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get used to them. So they begin with what's called the battle tactic stratagems. So the example they've given here is techno-oracular targeting. So use this stratagem in the shooting phase before making a wound roll for an attack made by a Necron's model from your army. Do not make a wound roll for that attack, it automatically wounds target. So with this example, it actually says a shooting attack made by a model. It doesn't say the unit. So this isn't going to be used on your warriors with the Gorse weapons. The example they actually give is giving it to your Canoptic Wraiths while shooting your transdimensional beamers. Shooting them at like high toughness enemies and taking advantage of the -3 AP and 3 damage. With this stratagem, you don't really need to worry about the strength of the weapon. So that can be a handy one there. The next one they preview is an epic deed stratagem. So this one is use the stratagem in the command phase, select a Technomancer model from your army, and until the end of the phase, the model can use its rites of reanimation ability an additional time. So now it's not confirmed what rites of reanimation actually is of yet, but I'm hearing a few things from different sources that it's something along the lines of standing up D3 models. Like I said, it's not confirmed, but I highly doubt it'll be something to do with like +1 to reanimation rolls, because the new rules with the reanimation protocols, they're basically capped at +1 to the roll, and the Technomancer is already given a +1 to the roll as he's a Cryptek, so it won't be that. And looking at the title of the stratagem, the Deathless Arise, that seems to me like they're going to be standing up models. How many, I don't know, but I'll guess at D3. But we'll have to wait and see. The third previewed stratagem was a requisition stratagem, Hand of the Pharaon. So use this stratagem before the battle when you are mustering up your army. If your army does not contain a model with the Pharaon keyword, you select a Necron's Overlord model from the army, excluding named characters. That model gains the Pharaon keyword, and in your command phase it can use its My Will Be Done ability 1 additional time. You can only use this stratagem once. So this one I'm finding quite useful, because you can flank your Overlord with 2 lots of warrior blobs, and you can be buffing both of the units with a +1 to hit with their 20 Gorse weapons. That's pretty devastating if you're in range of shooting. And the other part of the stratagem is the Pharaon keyword, which we don't yet know what that means. So we'll have to wait and see on what that means. So next, going on to a strategic play stratagem called Self-Destruction. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Canoptic Scarab Swarm unit from your army is selected to fight. Select one model in the unit. After that unit has finished piling in, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of the model and roll a d6. On a 2 to a 5, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, the enemy unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. The Canoptic Scarab Swarm model is then destroyed. So this one's pretty much the same as the previous version in the other Codex, except there's a slight buff here, as if you roll a 6 now, you're given a flat 3 mortal wounds. Okay, so the next one is a strategic play stratagem called Burrowing Nightmares. Use this stratagem at the start of the movement phase. You select one Ophidian Destroyer unit from your army that is on the battlefield, remove that unit from the battlefield, and in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, you can set that unit back up on the battlefield anywhere that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. If the battle ends and the unit is not on the battlefield, it's destroyed. So this one's got its uses. For example, if you've dealt with an enemy unit with this with the Ophidian Destroyers and you find yourself a bit out of position with them, you can use this stratagem to virtually redeploy them. The only issue is you're redeploying them on your next movement phase, so you're effectively losing a turn with them. It could keep them alive, keep them out of trouble perhaps, or it could be useful late game with like certain objective. You can prevent your opponent scoring an objective, or you can grab a late one, so it does have its uses. Next we've got a war gear stratagem, Malevolent Arcing. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase when a Necron's model from your army targets an enemy unit with a Tesla weapon. After making the weapon's attacks, roll a d6 for each other unit within 6 inches of that enemy unit. On a 4+, that unit being rolled for suffers 1 mortal wound. So not overly keen on this one. Firstly, you need a lot of enemy units grouped together, and if they're horde units, then it's not going to really have much of an effect on them. It may help softening up the elite units because they're obviously quite expensive models, but overall it's quite situational. I'm not overly keen. So the last stratagem they previewed is actually a dynasty specific stratagem. So they've actually mentioned all dynasties are going to be getting their own stratagems. The example they've given is the Warhammer dynasty. They're obviously really pushing this dynasty at the moment because it's the Silent Kings dynasty. So with this one, use this stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase. When an enemy psyker attempts to manifest a psychic power within 18 inches of a Zwar unit from your army, roll 1d6, and on a 4+, that psychic power is denied. So this one's nice. Obviously we don't have any psykers to deny the witch, but the issue with it is it's a 50-50 roll on a 4+. And whether it works or it doesn't, you're still going to burn that CP. Although denying a really important psychic ability can be really handy. Like for example, I play Tyranids, and my go-to psychic ability for the Tyranids is Catalyst, which is basically a 5-up feel no pain roll. And if you remove that from one of my monsters or my Gene Stealers, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So this can be pretty handy. Bear in mind though, you can't re-roll the dice if you fail it, as that's now been changed since the new edition. Okay, so that's the 6 types of stratagems previewed and the dynasty specific stratagem. What do you guys think of these stratagems? Are any of these standing out to you? Are any of them useful to you? So it's not long now before the Codex release. Pre-orders are today, and the book is out on the 10th. So I can't wait to get stuck into the new book and try and work out some synergies with units and rules, so we can start getting plenty of review videos out. So that's the end of the preview. Please remember to like the video and subscribe if you're new. There's going to be tons of content coming up, so thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.